said you're 145, no?
No.
But
I haven't weighed 145 since 2007, man.
oh, okay. I thought you were 145, but when you fight, like you cut down to 125 because we're going back and forth in the comment section on in one
Oh,
of the videos.
no.
And
I walk around at about 130-ish. I can cut as low as 122. But I am exhausted when I do that. So about 125 at averaged is where I feel comfortable and strongest. But I'm only 169 centimeters tall. And then I have a lean bone structure, lean build. So about at 125, which is what, like 56, 55,
yeah,
56 kilos,
I don't know
56, 57. You know, I don't remember the conversion there, but yeah, about 125 is where I feel strong, but I'm also still tall in my weight class.
Okay. Oh, like, it's actually 56.8 kilos
for 125.
Yeah, because you divide it by 2.2.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like 56 to 57 is where like I'm just like I feel healthiest and strongest, and I'm still tall, which is important to me because I have a range style. Yes, I can fight when I'm the shorter guy, but I fight at my best when I outreach my opponent because all of my techniques and style are based around long range techniques and dominating at range. So that's why people are like, why don't you just put on 30 pounds of muscle like Van Damme, Kwon? You'd be so cool. Because then I'd be a little tiny dude if I ever decide to fight again, which most people who fight like have it in here. They're like, I'm just gonna do one more fight. I'm gonna do one more fight. Like, you know, people who have the urge to fight are always like in the back of their mind, like, I'm only semi-retired. I just won't tell anybody I'm semi-retired because I secretly have plans to fly back to Thailand. You know, like, so in case that happens, I want to make sure that I'm not like some big fat beer gut dude who can't get back into shape in time, right? So if an opportunity presents itself, I want to stay close to that. So I walk around at about 130, but when I'm in fighting shape, I walk around maybe a couple pounds over what I cut to, because there's not much to cut. Like the smaller you get, cutting 5 pounds is massive compared to if you weigh like 180 pounds and you cut 5 pounds, right? So, and that includes not just like body fat or, you know, muscle mass, but also water weight as well. That's like a big impact on a small frame. A small human frame is going to be much more impacted by a 5 pound cut than a large human frame. It's just common sense. You think it'd be common sense, right? But you think a lot of things would be common sense for people, but not necessarily. I blame mysticism, but yeah. I'm going off on a tangent, man. So feel free to redirect me back onto the path because I do this all the time.
Oh no, like I go off tangents all the time, man. Like on my channel, like when I'm making videos, and then I catch myself and I try to get back on track onto the subject and all. And some people complain, but for the most part, I think that people who follow me like regularly, they enjoy it. It's fun, you know. And yeah. So what was I going with this? Yeah, so like that, but one thing that people don't realize either is that when they tell you, yeah, go up a weight class, you know, just put on some muscle. Well, first of all, it's hard to put on muscle, man. And it takes time, and then it changes everything. It changes how you fight. It changes your timing. It changes, you know, and like you said, like if you become, you become heavier, you put on more muscle mass, but then you're a shorter guy, you go up weight class, but now you're the shorter guy, it just screws everything up. So, you know, like if you, so people, yeah, I think that you have to take that into consideration before putting on, you know, muscle, you know,
exactly.
Especially if you're training and you're fighting in a sport where there's weight classes. I mean, actually there's weight classes in every fighting.
Yeah, well, I guess it'd be the mentality is like, if you're training to compete or if you're just training for the streets, right? So like, okay, if you're just training MMA for self-defense, yeah, pack on your muscle, do what you want to do, whatever. But if you plan on competing, then you need to keep a reasonable weight or a targeted weight for how you're training. Like I said, pressure versus range, stuff like that. But a lot of casuals don't understand this because they don't have any competition experience. Like maybe you could compete for years and years. And once you know you're done, then, okay, well, I'm done competing. So I'll go ahead and work on, over the next 5 years, putting on 5 or 10 pounds of muscle, like in the gym, unless you're one of those dudes who like to speed things up, in certain ways. But if you're a regular dude who doesn't like to speed things up and just do it old fashioned Rocky style, right? With hard work over a long period of time, the story's different. But yeah, so that's the reason why I don't pack on a bunch of muscle mass. And for me, it takes a long ass time. Sorry. It takes a long time for me to put muscle on, and I lose it quick. My body's very adaptive. If I sit on my butt for 2 years doing nothing, I just atrophy, right? And then I can put it back on, but it's like I'm starting not so much from scratch, but I do my routine. It takes a while of breaking down the muscles, rebuilding them back up, breaking down the muscles, rebuilding them back up. That slow process of rebuilding my physique. It's not like I can just do it in 3 months, 6 months. Right now, I anticipate I won't be back in like massive Kwonkicker fighting shape for at least another 8 months to 16 months. Like, I've only been back for like, I don't know, like if I squeeze all the days together of training, then maybe 2.5 months worth. So, I mean, I still have like a little bit of cookie chub going on, and like I'm still working hard to get back in shape, but it's a slow process. A lot of people don't realize you can't just, when they see, oh, actors do it. No, they don't. No, they don't.
Actors are taking special supplements there. You know what I mean?
Yes, they're taking special supplements, and then they're usually saving the scenes where they're shirtless for the end of production. And in the times where they're not skin naked, they have like bodysuits. I don't know if you watch behind the scenes Marvel stuff, but there's bodysuits they wear.
But what do you mean by bodysuits? You mean like something to keep everything tight, or?
No, like an actual, like a Superman outfit, right? But it's actually built with muscles.
Oh yeah, of course, 100%. Like you see Batman with like it's okay, whatever.
Right. Or Superman, it's made to look like it's his flesh underneath, but it's not. It's a prosthetic outfit. And it's just so they don't have to constantly, have like
get a pump,
half dehydrated, and exactly. But for real, in my experience, I've been doing this 20 years. I'm not an expert, but I can tell you what works for me is these slow, repeated get sore, recover, get sore, recover. It takes me longer to recover than other people, so I have a slower process, and my body doesn't want to put on a bunch of, like, I find myself plateauing at certain weights.
Well, what was what was the biggest you ever gotten? Like not fat, but I'm talking about, like putting on.
Well, obviously there's body fat mixed in there. As far as like shapely, I think I stepped on the scale where I was looking fit, without obvious guttage, like probably 145 to 147 in about 2007. So my very first, on my channel, I have like a spinning hook kick tutorial. That's where I weighed about 145-ish. Okay. And then that first, and you could see it too. I just looked like a different guy. I look like I have a brother. That was my brother or something, right? Compared to now. But yeah, my first kickboxing sampler, I was like 145-ish. And I was doing heavy lifting at our gym because we had like a weight set, and I had been doing it for like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just did it for like 2 years, right? Like, on board. Let's do, what is this thing? I don't know what this is. What is this thing? Let's do this. It looks cool. So that's basically what I did on this little weight corner that my instructor had. And because all I wanted to do was fight and spar. I didn't want to learn about nutrition or how to weight lift properly and stuff like that. So I just kind of did my own thing. But that's where I got my biggest. It took a while, but I was also young too. So I was like, what, 2021, 22, something like that. I think. So, but yeah, but I haven't been that weight since, because I learned quickly how short I was in that class. I was like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, I can't, it takes everything just to kick at someone's head height against other 45 pounders who are really like 165 cut down to 140, Like, this is ridiculous.
It's a cardio thing too, because the more muscle you have, like now all of a sudden, yeah, you're stronger and faster and more explosive. But I mean, it comes at a price, right? Now all of a sudden, it's like like conditioning wise, metabolic wise, it's different because you got that muscle that needs gas,
Yeah, exactly. it was I just didn't feel as optimal as I could have. But there was the vice versa that happened as well, where in Thailand I cut way too light. And I felt like I had felt the worst physical shape of my life in Thailand because I just was not eating enough calories. I was not taking in enough calories. I was underestimating how much my body needed. I probably should have been taking about 3,500 maybe. I was taking in about 17 with two 2.5 hour training sessions, professional Muay Thai training sessions a day. I was thinking that I was doing things right, but I'm like, I'm done. My fight's over. I don't want to cut anymore. Just stop. Body, just stop. And I kept stepping on the scale and I need to stop training for a week. I stopped training for a week and I stuffed my face the best I could, kept losing weight. So there is the opposite end where if you cut too low, then that harms your fitness as well, because you just have no energy, right? It's like your body's eating itself. Especially if you have that afterburner effect kicking in after you've been doing intense cardio for like 3 months or more. You're burning extra calories a day. But this is all stuff I learned the hard way, I guess you'd say. But yeah, so there's a sweet spot. You don't want to cut too light and you don't want to get too big. And there's a sweet spot for your body type. I guess everybody has to kind of find for themselves, right?
Yeah. And I think that I'm of the opinion that you want to stay at a body weight that's comfortable for you to maintain also, that's sustainable, right? So you don't want to be too heavy. You don't want to be too low. You want to be at a point where, from my understanding, because I'm not an expert in weight cutting or anything like that, but I'm thinking 10 pounds weight cut is the most, it's a healthy way to do things. Anything above that, like when you start to get into 15 pounds, that's starting to get pretty hard on the body. 20 pounds, that's like, okay, now we're getting into extremes, when it comes to cutting weight for a fight or competition or whatnot.
Right. We're talking body mass or water weight?
Water weight. Yeah. Okay, I believe you should be fit like all the time, year round. And then when you go into a fighting camp, I think that you should be getting into, now you're just working specifically on skills for that fight. And then you get into fighting shape, but you should always be fit. If you let yourself go and you get fat and you try to get fit, you try to get in shape during, your fight camp, then it's,
but we've all seen those fighters, right? Those professional fighters with their guts hanging out. And it's like, that guy made his weight, but we all know what kind of weight he cut. It was just water, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, because, and that's the crazy thing with professional fighters, right? They might be professional fighters because they get paid to fight, and that's the definition of being a professional in anything. As long as you're getting paid, for whatever it is that you're doing, you're a pro, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you're actually good at doing certain things like within your that's required of you to do within your sport. Because I was like, a lot of these guys, they don't periodize properly their training, they don't stay in shape. It's a little bit harder for a fighter because, like for sports like basketball, there's seasons, right? There's the season, there's the off season. So they know when they can train hard, put on mask and all that. For a fighter though, it's kind of like, well, they have a contract, and let's say it's something like a 4-fight contract. They might have 1 or 2 fights a year, but they don't really know when it's going to happen. So for them, it's a little bit more complicated. So ideally, they should actually stay in shape and keep on developing skill, going to the gym and training and all that.